Hey everybody, I am Father Gabriel, and today Father Aaron and I are going to be giving a pearl of wisdom. My pearl of wisdom is taken from the lives of the saints, taken from St. Thomas Aquinas and so many others, where recognizing that whenever we make a choice, we always choose something for the sake of something which we perceive to be good. In some cases, it is a true good, and we experience internal freedom and peace from that choice. In some cases, it's merely a perceived good that I choose, but it turns out that it actually was not a real good. What's the distinction here? Like, for instance, when I choose to love, it's something I perceived to be good. I'm desiring your good for your own sake, and I'm acting in accordance with that desire in some way by saying something very kind to you, or doing something benevolent for you, or being magnanimous in some way, you know. But sometimes I might perceive something to be good, which actually isn't good. St. Thomas says that we always choose something that we perceive to be good, but sometimes they're only apparent goods. Like, for instance, when we sin, I perceive my desire is not to experience the punishment of Mom. I see those eyes burning with wrath, you know, as she's coming, and I choose the apparent good of avoiding this by telling a lie. It is never good to do this. I might, for a time, escape the wrath of my mother, and there's times when maybe our parents themselves are responding in a disordered way by choosing something that they perceive to be good, which is actually a misperception. It's not an authentic good. It's right. They might be doing this too, and that's a whole nother conversation. What I'm talking about is my choices, your choice. To recognize that anytime I sin, it's not something that's good. So how can I make a distinction between authentic goods and perceived goods? And for this is my pearl of wisdom. This is a really long way of getting at my pearl of wisdom. I'm sorry. But for this, I just invite you to consider that whenever we choose something, if you think back, you know, like a 3-year-old, you're going to say, but why? But why? But why? Well, why did you choose this? Okay, you give the reason. Why did you put on stockings this morning? Well, because it's still chilly outside. Okay, well, why is it being chilly outside a problem? Well, because I don't want to catch a cold. Well, why don't you want to catch a cold? Well, it's because I don't want to get sick. Well, why don't you want to get sick? Well, because when I'm sick, I'm miserable. Well, why is it a problem to be miserable? Blah, 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 you know, all the way back. And at the end of that chain of why questions, at the end of it, at some point, you're just going to say, well, it's because I want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And this is where I invite you to a particular way of thinking. This is going to be my pearl of wisdom. I'm sorry, I'm taking so long to explain it. This is my pearl of wisdom. That we make our motivation for why we choose something to be the same motivation of Jesus Christ. And this is twofold. When you look at the Gospels, Jesus came very clearly, we look at the cross, Jesus came with the intent to take upon himself our guilt as he died upon the cross. So he came for the salvation of souls. But even prior to that, his coming among us was in obedience to the Father. And so a way that I like to phrase these two things is saying the motivation of Jesus Christ is for the glory of God, for the glory of his Father, so the glory of God and the salvation of souls. This is actually written on my shirt here, come to think of it. So for the glory of God and the salvation of souls, this is a motivation that if I keep this at the heart of every choice, when I go through my day and I think, I'm going to put on my stockings today. Why? Well, because I want to be happy. But why? Let myself, just letting myself experience the freedom of saying, my reason, my why, I want it to be to give glory to God in loving Him first and foremost in my life, and for the salvation of souls. All of those other people that He's put in my life, and me. Remember the 3 levels of relationship in the greatest commandment? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. God, neighbor, self. The glory of God, the salvation of souls, my neighbor and my own salvation. This is the great motivation that I can have in my life. And so this is my pearl of wisdom. Try to orient your heart so that the glory of God and the salvation of souls is your why for every thought and word and action each day.
Something that's been very striking for me in the last year or so that I've been reflecting on is how God uses those who make themselves available to Him. If we do not make ourselves available to Him and we do not open ourselves up to His grace, if we don't spend time and our talents in His service, well, then He can't do the work that He wants to do. God wants to transform the world. He wants to transform not only me, but everyone that's around me. And He can't do that. Well, I mean, he could do it. He could force it on everybody, but He chooses not to, right? He chooses to give us that inkling and desire to want to be of help to other people. That comes from Him. And to share the goodness of our life for the sake of others, that has to be through our openness and His invitation and our acceptance of His invitation to be ready to love God with everything of who we are and to love our neighbor as ourself. And we can allow things to get in the way of that relationship. We can choose to close ourselves off to God, to not spend time in prayer, to not spend time thinking and meditating on divine ways of life. We can choose to participate in sinful things in this world, which would hold us back from really becoming the best version of ourselves that God wants us to be. And so that choice to love, to make ourselves radically open and available to God, it includes sacrifice. It means making room for God to be present in my life and allowing God that space to speak to me. Like this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, I just sort of woke up and was having a hard time going back to sleep. And I just remember lying in the bed there, and it suddenly jumped into my mind, just surrender your life to God right now. Just tell Him, Lord, here I am. If you want to speak to me right now, I make myself available to you. And I don't recall that anything particular happened in that moment, but I do remember having a consolation in my heart, but that He was really appreciative. The Lord was appreciative that I just simply made myself available. That if He wanted to say something out loud to me, He could have done it. He might have decided to wait because after a little while I fell back to sleep again. But if that was the whole purpose of waking me up last night, isn't that a beautiful thing? Now, that happens to us all the time if we're paying attention and we make ourselves available to God and His grace. So that is the thing I would recommend, advise you to explore with your life. Am I making myself available to God's grace today, or am I letting other things get in the way? Am I spending time in prayer, or am I watching a lot of TV and videos and movies and TikTok and everything else that are getting in the way of God? Thanks for watching these video series. I think this is my very last one now. So I appreciate that you spent the time throughout Lent meditating on these little pieces of help that we've been trying to offer, Father Gabriel and myself. So thank you for watching all of them. Let's keep praying for one another. And here we are, ready to celebrate Easter. God bless you.